Hello everyone, and welcome to a few more words by me. Yeah, I just noticed all my t-shirt is a bit scrunched up. Yep, not any better. Okay, this is a book by a first-time author, Phil Smart. I'm covering up his name. Smart emailed me one day, totally out of the blue, and he ticked all the boxes. He'd done his research on me. He knew that I liked Australian authors. He knew that I liked to give indie authors a chance. And he must have noticed that I like a bit of historical fiction as well. And he suggested that I read his book. Now, when you ask a book blogger or a booktuber to review your book, you should know you're only going to get what they want to say. You're not necessarily going to get good stuff. There was one book I sent off somewhere else because it was a dreadful book. This is 10 times better than that book, which I'm not naming. I'm not naming the author. I probably should, but I won't. This is 10 times better than that author who has been writing for 50 years. So it's not always the amount of number of years you've been writing for. It's not necessarily the number of books you've written. It's whether you're trying. And Phil Smart seems to have tried. So this is about a man named Shaka. Now, you can't see him on the front cover. I don't know why I'm pointing to it. Shaka was an absolutely amazing man. I've done my research on him, so Shaka. He was the man who took the Zulu nation from a small, like 1,500 people, when he was sent to take over. He took it to I think it was 3 times that in 1 year, and he quadrupled from 1,500 times 4 in 2 years. He was an amazing tactician. He was fantastic at bringing communities together and making them a community, and we see how he works through the eyes of teenagers. Was Beatrice a teenager? I don't know, 3 English kids. Nathaniel, I think, is 16. Andrew is a bit younger, at 14. And Beatrice, I don't remember how old she was, but a little bit younger. So they're English, they're white. And they're travelling on a boat, because in the 1800s that's how you travelled from one continent to another. You travelled by boat, and they were going to India. They were going to go down around the Cape of Good Hope. If I actually go backwards for me then forwards for you, so down from England around the Cape of Good Hope and then across to India. But off the coast of, I think it was East Africa, they hit a huge weather issue, and the 3 kids were swept overboard on a lifeboat with their 2 dogs. And we see them from then on as they land. No, we don't see them land. We see them starting to wake up. So we see Andrew is being woken up by his brother Nathaniel, and Andrew has a bit of concussion, which you'd expect to get if something hit you hard on the back of the head. And they meet up with the young boy, who was about the same age, is not listed. His name is not listed on the back. Mandlake. Or Mandlake, or something. I don't know how to pronounce African sounds. So they met up with this young boy about the same age as them, Beatrice starts learning English, his language. He starts learning English, and the two cultures start learning each other. And he takes the three kids to Shaka. Shaka is starting to move up into the world, make the Zulu nation bigger and better than it was. So he hasn't done all that I said before yet. He's on the way to it now. And he takes Nathaniel, being 16, he's been in the army now for I don't know how long. But the family has enough money, so he's been able to talk to a lot of people in the army. He knows how Napoleon worked his strategies and all his tactics. And so Shaka takes Nathaniel and asks him lots and lots and lots of questions about Napoleon and about strategy and about tactics, and puts a lot of that into use in his thinking. He had already started with the community stuff, so if you go in and Google Shaka, then you'll find out a lot of the community things that he did. I think he was really only thinking about the men and the boys, not the women and the girls, but that's a lot of that happens, although he seems to have been listening to his mother. Now, when I did my research, I could not find anything resembling these three kids. And the reason why is because Smart took his inspiration from a man named Henry Francis Finn, who actually spent 40 years in the Zulu nation and had at least one wife there. So there's a good chance that Shaka and Henry Francis Finn actually stopped and talked strategies and tactics and whatever. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because there's a lot I don't know. There is a thesis about Finn, which I didn't read. I looked at it and I thought, no, my brain cannot cope on that. I have so much to do. So I didn't read that. But there is a thesis about him. So Finn was white, Shaka was black. Yes, I'm not mincing my words. I'm white, you can tell. Well, vaguely white anyway. And it was really fascinating to see a country I've never seen before. I've never been there. I've only seen it in videos. I've seen it through, there's the Africam webcam, so you can actually watch water holes and things like that and see the animals. It's so fantastic if you get the right time of day. I don't know how many hours behind us they are. Several. At least 3 or 4. But to actually learn about the people of that area, the Zulu nation, I mean, they are iconic. At least as far as I know. Seriously amazing. And to read all of that about, computer's gone quiet. No, not quite. Screens have gone off. I've been talking too long, obviously. But to read all of that, about all these people who I would never have known about beforehand if it wasn't for this book. I really want to know more. That's why I went and I started researching Shaka. It's like, is this a real man? Yes, he is, or was. What did he do? How close is the book to reality? Well, according to my 10 minutes of research, yes, he was a master tactician. Yes, he was a master strategist. Yes, he knew how to make community, knew how to structure his nation so that to make the most of the community. And that's an absolutely amazing thing. I mean, I am full of community. People say I'm religious, and I'm not. I just like the community. So I'm hoping to read more books about Africa and the people that were there. I have read bits and pieces. I've got a friend who wrote a travel book about Greece. And the first chapter of the second, well, she wrote 2 books, and the first chapter of the second book was where she was learning to understand that her black friend and how do I put this, that she and her black friend did not share the same issues, and she was learning to understand about apartheid and how she was so much more privileged than he was. And this chapter in this book, it starts off with that, but then we end up with Nelson Mandela coming out of prison. And she's there on that day. And that is amazing. And I'd like to read more about some of these people before apartheid, during apartheid, but from the black point of view. So rather than white, I read so much about white people, I'm finding myself a bit white blinded, not blind, which is one of the reasons. Sorry, I'm just showing a book from a previous video. One of the reasons I read Tara June Winch was because I've developed a system of, when I go into a bookshop in Australia, I ask for a book by an Indigenous author. Well, I say I don't like romance, and I want either a local author or Indigenous author, and I've learned that I have to actually state local to this area as opposed to Australian, local being Australian. And I read this, and Tara June Winch is Indigenous, so she's black. Don't know if she looks black, but her blood, her DNA will show that. Fantastic book, by the way. I should probably do a video of its own, just of its own, because I've never done that. I bought this and read it and wrote about it before I started doing YouTube videos en masse. Before I started dedicating some of my life to YouTube videos. So, I want more. I want more books like this. It's lovely to read something like this and to then go and do the research and discover so much I had absolutely no idea about. And yeah, sorry, I think I'm out of words there. I did at some stage actually write some notes on the back of my business card, which I can't read. Now, page 13, why have I written Cape of Good Hope in page 13? That might have been something to do with looking up the Cape of Good Hope. Right, yes. Now I understand. Some of the things he's done here is to put in footnotes. So, I had absolutely no idea. I've read about the rounding of the Cape of Good Hope in so many other books over the decades. Excuse me. And this one actually explains it so I understand it. And it's a footnote. Yep, so they're having dinner to celebrate rounding the Cape of Good Hope. And this says, this is the most southern tip of Africa. After sailing past this point, a ship sailing from England gradually turns back northeast on the final run to India. When travelling the other way from India, the ship turns northwest on the home run to Britain. So, there you go. There aren't a lot of footnotes, but there are enough to make it that much easier to understand. What else have I written? Page 34, I've written safety. This is why I write my notes, because I do not necessarily remember what I feel I need to remember. And of course, some of these times I write my notes and then I don't use them. No, I don't think I need to talk about safety. Although the boy, I don't quite know how to refer to him, because yes, he's black. Mandlaka, that's what I'll say. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. So a Zulu warrior thought of himself as the apex predator of the African bush. But you've got lions, leopards, and even the old bull buffalo, who have been known to dispute this Zulu view of the world. And so what he's doing is he's walking through the bush by himself. He's, 13, or I think about 13. And he's walking through by himself, not just walking, but trotting at such a huge pace. Apparently they can get through 50 miles in a day. And he was trying to do that, something along those lines. Probably not 50, but as he's going, he's scanning the area. He knows exactly what's going on in every single moment behind him, 360 degrees. He knows what's happening. He's listening, he's looking, and he's using all his senses to understand where the danger is, if there is danger. So, and the last note, I will just have a look at this, page 35, lion, and I've made no more notes after page 35. Lion. No. He's looking at a lion eye to eye. I mean, sorry, I'm just in awe of people who can do this and live. And then the lion just loses interest and walks off. I have no idea why I made that note. But anyway, some of his phrasing is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. What more? But having run out of words, I'll talk to you on the flip side. Bye.